Hey guys, it's Nicole here from Toujours and welcome to our Troubleshooting Tuesday. Today's episode is going to be all about how to fix those sticky bottoms on your macaron shells. So let's start out by talking about what causes those sticky bottoms. So there are two main reasons that your macaron shells are going to be sticking to your silicone mat or your parchment after baking. One of them is that you didn't bake long enough. Pretty straightforward. To fix that, you would just bake a little bit longer. If you're confident that your oven is not your issue and you've baked them for 20-25 minutes and they're still sticking to your mat or parchment, then your issue is going to be that your batter is too wet. So there are multiple things that can cause your batter to be too wet, and usually it's going to either be you're mixing your batter too much, and it's just getting too fluid and it's never going to bake right and end up being super chewy, fragile tops, and sticky. The second issue is that you have too much liquid in your recipe. So either you might be adding extracts or gel colors, in which case you can scale back on your liquid, and that's an easy fix. If those aren't your issues, then you could possibly be having a breakdown of your batter, which also makes your batter more moist and runny. So you got to work on that meringue being stiff and sturdy and not over mixing your batter. And that should give you a solid batch that is not going to remain sticky on your silicone or parchment after baking. So let's recap really quickly. If you're dealing with those sticky bottoms, it either means you need to bake longer, or the issue could be that your batter is too wet. And things that cause your batter to be too wet are things like over mixing your batter, putting too much liquid into your recipe. Take out the extracts. Try to scale back on the gel color. See if that helps you. If bake time, liquids in your recipe, and over mixing are not your issues, then go back to the basics and make sure your meringue is sturdy and that your ingredients are not compromised, because those things can break down your batter and cause it to be more runny, just like over mixing does. So if you have your meringue that's not super stiff, it can have the same result as having your batter be over mixed, because all of this stuff leads up to your batter consistency, and it can ruin it if you're over mixing and if you don't have a meringue that's stiff enough or sturdy enough. If you're using the Italian method, you don't necessarily have to have a super stiff meringue, but with French method, nice and stiff meringue will lead you to beautiful macarons. So, whew, that was a lot. I said a lot, didn't I? Straightforward though. If you break it down, it's very easy. You want your batter to be sturdy and beautiful and not overmixed, and you want your oven to be at a great temperature and baking long enough. So hopefully these tips can help you break down where your problem area is. When I talk about ingredients being not compromised, that means make sure you have no yolk in your egg whites. Make sure your almond flour isn't too oily. You can bake it off in the oven, and there's more in that in my macaron ebook if you're interested in learning all those basics. All right guys, that's it for today. Here's to hoping your macaron bottoms come off nice and easily from your baking surface. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday, and I will see you next week.